Hello and welcome back to another Doctor Who vinyl record review as a part of the Demon Music Group Who vinyl series. In today's review we're going to be taking a look at the most recent original TV soundtrack to be released, and that is of course the first Doctor serial, The Celestial Toymaker from 1966, the 4-part story, which is of course mostly missing from the TV archive with the exception of episode 4. So naturally, with all missing stories, it's really lovely to see that this serial in particular has received vinyl treatment. As always, this record is available to purchase now from the usual retailers including Amazon, Zavvi and HMV, and if you are interested by this product and you want to purchase it, why not ask your local record shop to get it in store to support your local businesses. Releases do tend to be produced in limited edition runs, so once they're sold out, they do tend to be sold out for good. I know some of the earlier releases within this series are considerably collectible. This release in particular has received a little bit of attention due to certain things currently going on within the Doctor Who community, which I will not be mentioning in this review for spoilers, but yes, if you know, you know. And to be honest, I don't think it is as deep as what people are saying. These original TV soundtracks usually are released in accordance with the CD releases that came out many years ago, so I think on this occasion it might be sheerly down to sheer coincidence. As per usual with this series, the entire record has come wrapped in a protective cellophane wrapping, which is great especially if you are ordering this product via the likes of Amazon, because vinyls aren't normally packed in very secure packaging if you're ordering from there, so I definitely recommend probably ordering from somewhere else. This time round, the Who vinyl sticker is presented on the bottom left hand side. To contrast with the main cover art, the Who vinyl logo has also been given a red finish, which is a really lovely, satisfying touch. And below this, it goes on to state that this is a 1966 classic Doctor Who story, complete on vinyl for the first ever time, and this collector set features two 140-gram King and Queen coloured LPs. And this is of course a lost Doctor Who TV story. However, of course, due to some rather dedicated Doctor Who fans back in 1966 recording this story off their TV screens directly into the audio form, it means that we can still enjoy this TV adventure within the audio medium, as well as through the telesnap reconstructions by Loose Cannon. So now the record is out of the cellophane sleeve, let's take a look at the main cover art and presentation. And what an excellent presentation it is. Once again, Demon Music Group have done an incredible job of really bringing this 1966 classic TV serial to life in the 21st century, making it a rather exciting cover for a vinyl record release. Of course, this is a unique artwork never seen before, and it really does sell the story as being rather surreal, out of this world, and kind of in another dimension, because we have this really vibrant yellow, red and blue design, which looks incredibly interesting, to say the least. Something that this series continues to deliver is a unique artwork that doesn't result in the same basic design that we've seen used quite a lot on Doctor Who merchandise, where you just get the repetition of the same characters, the Doctor, the TARDIS, the companions of the story, etc, etc, because to the extent that this series rarely actually features the Doctor, of course the TARDIS is on quite a number of these artworks, usually in a specific location from the story itself, creating a uniform style, but for the most part these covers tend to rely on the location and flow of the story, and in this case of course the rather interesting challenges and games set by the Toymaker. At the very bottom it states that this is the original BBC TV soundtrack, which for those of you who do not know, it is basically a direct recording of the audio from the TV story, and then all of the visual acts and cues are basically described through linking narration, kind of making it a mix between an audiobook and an audio drama. Although of course due to this being a Doctor Who classic serial from 1966, the audio quality does tend to vary from story to story, as you would expect, although I suppose we can just be thankful that this story exists at all within any medium. One of my favourite aspects of these cover arts is the use of the current era Doctor Who logo, because I think it works surprisingly well on LP covers. It really does stand out. In particular here we have a lovely silver embossing which has been used over the Doctor Who typeface, and then of course above this we have the BBC logo as per usual, and then below this the Celestial Toymaker in a black typeface, really making it stand out on that red and blue background. Little things such as this, the likes of the embossing, that really makes this product feel like it is a premium collector's item, because this doesn't necessarily need to have a silver finish, although it's nice that they've still done this to make the product feel a bit more high quality and exciting. The entirety of the cover artwork has this lovely playing cards theme, so as you can see on the base we have the various suits that you have in an average pack of playing cards, including the hearts, diamonds, spades and clubs. Actually, of course, these shapes all build up to kind of create this rather unusual cube-like design, making it look like almost a child's set of playing blocks. And there is also the odd bit of patterning put in there as well, just to make the piece look a little bit more visually interesting. Actually, of course, we are in the Toymaker's realm, so subsequently Michael Goth as the Toymaker can be seen in the very centre, with this white glow coming from behind him, making him stand out quite a lot. Again, the costume has been really nicely replicated, lots of excellent shades in there, including some yellow and orange, really standing out with a lovely patterning on it. Then we also have some various different shades of blues and purples, really replicating that material effect. The left of the Toymaker, we have one of the rather iconic clowns from the story. These always creep me out. I'm not particularly someone who's scared of clowns, but I do think the ones that appear within this story are rather ominous. A detailing on the face is incredibly impressive. I love the way that we also have that subtle suggestion of the shadow in the background. And to the right of the Toymaker, we have a toy soldier. Again, some really impressive detailing on his uniform, including highlights of yellow, red and white. And we also have a very subtle face detailing as well. Below the Toymaker, we have my favourite character which appears on this front cover, and it is the toy robot. Again, very stereotypical to those old retro toy robots, so very angular, very block-like. Lots of excellent detailing on the various sections within the body, including many rivets and screws and even a screen in the very centre. And we have that very emotionless expression. He's also surrounded by various little playing blocks. The final characters to be featured on this cover, and arguably the most creepy, we have the identical dancing dolls. Again, some really impressive detailing on the costumes, including highlights of red and oranges to really create that creased effect within the material. And again, we have a very subtle detailing on the face, picking out the mouth, the eyes and the nose, and those rather rosy cheeks. A great little touch is also the inclusion of the TARDIS exterior box in the same design to that of the suits seen in the background. It blends in nicely. Very obvious that this cover artwork will not be for everyone, but personally I just like to see new and exciting pieces of merchandise, as especially in recent years there has been quite a lot of dull re-releases here and there, and things that aren't particularly out of the ordinary, and this is definitely out of the ordinary. It's visually striking, and it adds a bold new take to that of a 60s Doctor Who serial. So now flipping the record sleeve around to the back, we have a continuation of this rather absurd design, with the same pattern repeating over and over again. Artwork for these vinyl records usually follow a particular theme, with the TARDIS being set within a location from the story. This is a little bit different, as the TARDIS doesn't actually take up too much of the back cover. Instead, it's kind of blended into this very angular background, once again surrounded by the various suits. TARDIS has in fact received a little bit of a redesign, so we have a red highlight which has been used to really pick out those finer details, including the lettering on the signage, as well as the window panes and even the top lantern. Unusually, we do also have a few additional characters featured on the back of this vinyl artwork, including the King and Queen in the left and right corners. King can be seen in the left-hand corner. Again, some really lovely detailing on his costume, and even that finer detailing on his face as well, an excellent likeness. And then we have the Queen in the opposite corner. Again, some really impressive detailing on her outfit, as well as that rather large headpiece. Tucked away, rather hidden within the bottom corner, we also have various bits of company information, including the BBC Demon Music Group logos, and of course the barcode. As we move towards the bottom of the back cover artwork, we do of course have a little bit of text stating that this episode stars William Hartnell as the First Doctor. The episode is written by Brian Hales, and it has linking narration by Peter Purvis, who does of course play the First Doctor's companion Stephen Taylor, and he does do the linking narration for the vast majority of the 60s stories as part of this series. It is worth noting that the audio which is used and pressed onto the records featured within this set is in fact the original TV soundtrack, which was released on CD back in 2001 and was subsequently then re-released in 2011. And for those of you who care about the spines on your records, perhaps if you display your records on a shelf rather than a storage case, we have the BBC and Doctor Who logo once again, as well as the title of the story on a lovely light blue background. At the bottom we get the Demon Music Group production number. So now that we've taken a look at the outside artwork, including the front and back, now let's take a look at the inside, which once again sports the usual uniform style of the Who vinyl series. In the very centre, we have the entire cast for this 4-part Doctor Who story, including Doctor Who, Stephen and Dodo, being of course the two companions of the story, alongside the Toymaker, as played by Michael Goth, and of course the various other characters from the story itself. Again, a lovely touch is that the various characters have been picked out using red and yellow, again using the same colour scheme which is seen on the front artwork for this release. In the very top corner, it once again repeats the title of the story as well as who it is written by, and states that the episode was first broadcast on BBC One between the 2nd and 23rd of April 1966. And as for the other corner, we have the various production credits for both the TV serial as well as this vinyl record release, stating that the cover art and layout has been designed by Oink Creative with illustrations by John Conlon. Unlike the front and back cover artwork, which tends to rely quite a lot on light blues and vibrant yellows and reds, the gatefold sleeve inner artwork has this lovely dark blue background which really makes the text stand out. And then over the top of this we have the usual shooting star design. Again, this features lots of lovely lighter colours, including oranges and reds and lighter blues. It is a relatively basic yet effective design, of course covering the entirety of the gatefold artwork. I do have a little bit of a debate with myself in my mind. Do I prefer this simplistic design which kind of continues the theme of the cover art, or would I like to see a few images from the actual TV story on the inside? I suppose it's up to personal preference, but again, this is a lovely design. Goes without saying, and I think that something that is often taken for granted with this series is the quality of cardboard which has been used on this gatefold sleeve is really lovely. It does feel very premium. It of course protects the records in the inside as well. Now I'm glad that we do have these two pockets for the two LPs, rather than resulting in one of those singular sleeve covers which have the two records stuck within the same pocket. I like the fact that we're continuing this design because I know a few companies are starting to opt for that singular sleeve design, which I must admit personally I don't like as much. So now that we've taken a look at the main cover artwork, let's slide out the records themselves. As per usual, there's two records featured within this set and both of them have exactly the same design. They do of course fit very snugly within the sleeve itself. For those of you that have collected this series before, you know exactly what to expect. On one side we have the time vortex of the TARDIS in the very centre, and then on the opposite side you have various details about the episodes themselves. So naturally this is 4 stories or 4 parts split across 2 records, so each side features 1 part. The title at the very top, as well as the sides presented on this particular record held within the sleeve, and due to this being a 1960s Doctor Who serial, we also have that added novelty of each individual part having its own unique title. So in this case, episode 1 is the Celestial Toy Room, and episode 2 is the Halls of Doom. Below this we also have the air date for the story, as well as a presentation of the entire cast for the episode, and a lovely added touch is of course the Doctor himself being credited as Doctor Who. The series continues to deliver the very satisfying design choices, so if you have the LP sleeves in this formation, as you can see the vortex does actually continue onto the other record, and then we have the details there presented at the side, and of course this rather subtle glow coming off from this sleeve as well. Speaking of the time vortex, let's move on to that side of the sleeve now. Again, this follows the same design to the rest of the series. This is really lovely, very energetic, having this lovely swirl of time vortex, and again the colour palette from this is kind of reminiscent to the front cover art, but is in a rather subtle fashion, especially when compared to some of the other releases. We certainly don't have a vibrant red, yellow and blue vortex. Of the usual TARDIS exterior box there in the very centre, the same lovely details on this. Is a rather simplistic design but very effective at the same time. I love the way that the yellow and orange of the time vortex is reflecting within the TARDIS windows, and for the scale of course those lovely smaller details of the pull to open signage as well as the police public call box signage there at the very top really does stand out. I love the way that we also have this bluey purpley glow, almost looking like light beams or even like a gas flame sort of coming around the side. It's very energetic, in particular when paired with this rather squiggly design of time vortex. With the use of that darker blue background, it really does make the vortex stand out. From a quality perspective, this is a really lovely quality card which has been used, really protecting the record on the inside of the casing. Record sleeves are something which do tend to vary in quality from the various different records that I've collected in the past. In particular, with the usual like artists and music records, you get this lovely cover art, and then the record is housed in this very cheap and flimsy paper sleeve which really doesn't protect the record hardly at all. But yes, it's nice that these have got this lovely high quality design. Something of which that is very unique for this release of the Celestial Toymaker is we have not one, but two different colour variations of records. So the first of which, we have this rather lovely red design, and as for the second, we have this lovely light blue design. With the exception of the Hornet's Nest, I do believe that this is in fact the first ever time that this has happened on a double LP release as part of the Who vinyl series, because usually we have the same colour scheme repeated across all of the LPs, but we have this King and Queen design once again replaying to that theme of playing cards as seen on the front cover artwork, and I really like this because not only do we have a very bold cover art, we also have a lovely different presentation of record. For the finish on the record itself, this is in fact a rather standard record. We don't have any splatters, we don't have any swirls, which is again a trend that this series has followed for quite a number of years. This time we just have a regular block colour record, which actually it makes a change. It makes a change to have a considerably normal design. So this is a lovely kind of pastel red, and as you can see, it clearly shimmers in the light there. The same can be said for the light blue record within this set. Also, it's this lovely light blue finish. If anything, it kind of reminds me of my old school uniform, actually. So it's quite a nice design. Again, really shimmers in the light, a lovely pristine finish, and of course, once playing on the turntable, this will look very visually striking. And as always, of course, in the very centre of the record, once again we get the repetition of the Doctor Who logo, the title of the story, the side and LP number, as well as the unique title for this episode, making it easy to flick through the various different sides within this story and allowing you to play them in order. It has to be said, it is probably one of the more normal records which has been released as part of this series, and that may not be for everyone. I know that quite a few people do prefer the splatter design. Personally, I do love it. I find them really exciting and vibrant and unique, and this does kind of revert back to the normal. But to be quite honest, it's actually nice to have a normal looking record for once. I think especially given the theme of this artwork being, of course, the various different suits within a playing card sort of traditional set, I think it really does work for this record release, and again makes it unique and stands out between the other Doctor Who releases so far. So there we have it. That is my review of the Doctor Who The Celestial Toymaker original television soundtrack limited edition vinyl record release from the Demon Music Group. Overall, for this Who vinyl edition, I think it is lovely. It really is. It's one of those designs that I think is very visually striking and breathes new life into a 60s serial, which is of course missing. I do always like when this series tackles a missing Doctor Who story, because more than often the likes of The Massacre and Galaxy 4, they can be overlooked and forgotten about due to their non-visual existence. Really nice to have a piece of merchandise that celebrates the story and does something a little bit different beyond merely being a telesnap reconstruction. So as always with these products, they will not be for everyone. It's definitely more appealing to a certain niche of Doctor Who fan who likes collecting records, or perhaps if you are particularly a fan of 60s Doctor Who and want something a little bit different for your collection. So thank you very much for watching this review. I really hope you have enjoyed it. Do of course stay tuned on The Host Productions for regular Doctor Who content. Have a nice day, and I shall see you all next time.